Tab. Okay, here we go. Objective for today. Of course, we're aligning on, we've narrowed down to 3. Maybe we'll narrow down to even 1 today, hopefully, and we'll see the other mediums come into life. I'll talk more about that in a second, but that's where we are on the roadmap. That little "we are here" is just slid down, just like, I don't know, on my screen, like 2/3 of a centimeter over the week. So we're getting to where we want to get to. The brief, we all know this, ideas, and here's where I'll do a little reminder. So the TV is, we finessed some of the language a little bit, but this is the first time you're going to see some of our thinking in radio and out of home. Now, similar to the previous round, but this is new. So you're going to see directional thinking on the out of home. I know, Carrie, you mentioned like some of the art direction and design cues. So we're showing you a few different ways at it. They're probably, in some ways, from a color palette standpoint or even layout, maybe even you can choose one for one of the areas, and if you like one better than the other. You'll see conceptually what the idea is as well. And just keep in mind, they're rough computer comps. So we would have to, okay, there's Andrew. Andrew. I'll just assume he's there. So I'll just setting up that for the out of home and radio, it's the first time you're seeing it. It's directional. There are computer comps. We would have to either shoot it or get professional retouchers to make it look the way we want it to look. And some of the language as well still, I think one of the action items coming out of today is to align on some of the, or not coming out today, but your homework for after this is to really give us feedback on the language you're really digging or not digging that we can use as call to actions or language, how we describe different things. And you'll see that through different ways, through different campaigns. Does that make sense?
Brent?
Yes.
It's Mike. Can you just give me 2 minutes? I'm just transitioning from a car into a place.
Sure.
And before you play it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Andrew, it looked like you were in a car. Are you?
I am, but I'm I'm an all too familiar scene for me these days. I'm eating lunch in the car, so I do have you up on screen. I'm parked, not eating lunch on screen and driving, so I'm parked.
Nice.
Okay. I went off camera so I could chew and you guys didn't have to watch me.
I was joking before you joined, Andrew, just to fill a little time. I got my second vaccine last night, but on the way home, on my car radio, they played Any Way You Want It by Journey. So I was with my family, like, oh, this is a sign because I'm presenting to Auto IQ tomorrow, and this is one of our song ideas. So I found it kind of funny. So I actually took a photo of it. I was going to send it to you guys, but then thought to myself, no one wants to see that from me. Like, it's not that interesting. It was interesting to me, but you guys would not be interested. So anyway, little anecdote.
I think
Maybe
we
some fake.
Yeah, I think you misread the group. I think we'd have been pretty excited to get it.
Yeah.
Well, in truth, I probably, what I do to my friends sometimes is when there's a good song playing, I record the song, but then I turn the camera to me belting out the core lyric part, which once I get to know you guys a bit better, I'll do that. Okay, so Mike, you're gonna let us know, or we'll see Mike pop back up. Again.
I'm just about in. Just a second here.
Okay.
It's good to know the rules of engagement, Brent. I do that all the time.
Yeah, you never know. Like sometimes I'd rather underplay it right now. Eventually, you'll get all kinds of stuff from me, I'm sure.
I'm just coming in on a different system.
There he is. All right. Okay. Are you officially in?
Oh, we couldn't hear you, Mike.
Yeah, I'm all good.
Okay, great. So let's go. So we know the first area. People get to choose exactly how they want to buy their car. How do you auto IQ? The TV on this one hasn't really changed. We might have cleaned up a little bit of the language, but it's really that thought of the misdirect. I did it in the middle of the night in my room, did it at work with my colleague watching. Again, you can guide us if this is the direction. How far is too far on the innuendo and how far is not far enough? And then also the sign off, some of that CTA, whether we want to change any of that language. But let's see how we took it to the next medium. So radio, we have two ways at it. So I will take you through this script. So you open up, or not open, you hear the radio spot. Because I did it on my couch, in my bed, and once in the bath. I did it on the bus, and the guy next to me helped. Don't tell anyone, but I did it at work, usually in the bathroom. I prefer doing it alone. I consulted with my husband, but he's kind of clueless about cars. And that's when we sort of give it away. How do you auto IQ? With AutoIQ.com, you can shop for your next car anytime, anywhere. Choose from a huge selection of vehicles and we'll deliver yours right to your door. Drive for 7 days, and if it's not a good fit, we'll come back and get it, no questions asked. It's smarter, it's easier, it's how you auto IQ. So that misdirect works perfectly in radio as well. We can maybe even use some sound design to enhance maybe where they might be. But it works exactly as the TV does. Okay, so I'll feel free to jump in and ask any questions, but I'll just keep going until someone stops me because I can't see all of you. I just see a couple of you. So how does this work in out of home? Well, I think we have a pretty good visual technique that we use part of your logo to sort of merge these two worlds. And I want to show you in an out of home. Again, it's a computer comp. We would have to get professional retouchers or even potentially shoot this to get the right images. So I like doing it in bed. So we put this in a transit shelter format. And then on the phone, we have how will you auto IQ? Buy your next car on AutoIQ.com. So you see a bunch of different things in action here. One, of course, the key visual, which has the Auto IQ silhouette, almost like she's driving the car. And that's what you're thinking about. I like doing in bed is the connect to the rest of the campaign. Of course, they're in a setting that's a place that's anywhere, anytime it delivers on as well, because it's nighttime. And we're using the phone here to really accentuate the fact that it's an online proposition. We've also added .com to the logo. That's also something to just discuss and think about, just to save space versus writing AutoIQ.com again. But we think it's a really nice way to marry the brand identity with this thought and the proposition of the campaign of doing it with a misdirect in different places. Okay, everyone following still? Okay, good. And then we took it to a display ad. Obviously it works as well. This is again directional. It's a guy on his couch. Probably not the right image, but for now it's what we have. I did it with my girl. I did it while my girlfriend watched. How will you auto IQ? I don't know if Carrie's eating something or laughing.
I'm not eating, I'm laughing.
Okay.
It's making me blush a little, I don't know.
Again, the language here, we tried something a little different because it's out of home or because it's digital, maybe want to give a bit more information. Anytime, anywhere, delivered to your home, and then the scene would change again. It's smarter, it's easier, it's how you AutoIQ.com.
Like,
So these are direct.
I can deal with it, but it's like they're fantasizing about the car, which is out there.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah.
Yeah, that's it's sort of merging the two thoughts. Obviously,
I'm really liking that. I'm liking that visual.
Yeah, the car gives it away a bit quicker. And at this point, I think it's okay to do that. Like obviously the TV and the radio are gonna be the real misdirect. But here we're getting a little closer to maybe down the journey, and it's okay to say we're a car company. Okay, that is the first area. Any questions on the first area before I go to the second one? Okay, we'll keep going.
Just a comment.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew. You go.
Sorry, I was just going to say, like, I'm comfortable with the level of risque. I think the word pro in the first kind of throws me a little bit.
Yep, I talked to a pro online. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. That was purposefully put there to see how far your comfort level is. But of course, we can address anything. The funny part is you do get to talk to a pro, don't you? If you wanted to, the concierge.
It
For
is
sure, it'd be it definitely appeals. Like you'll definitely resonate with a small audience. It's like, whoa.
it is good, but you've got a point, Andrew, especially in some of our markets where there's been some bad stuff happening that even dancing near that one, we all should consider.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, there's a lot of gray area here where we can pull back to make it just the right amount of like provocative without like being crude.
So interesting context. My wife on that one thought the first three were great. And the last one, she's like, why didn't you get risque on the fourth one? It's just boring. Like she's talking to some car guy. Like she completely didn't get the double meaning on that one.
I didn't get it either.
I love them all except pro, not just because some sensitivity in some of our markets around what's happened in that world recently. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Easy fix if we go down this direction.
So Brent, if I'm following the color palette on this one, like the blue and the black is sort of the angle on these ads. So I'm not sure if it's going to change.
It will. We're going to show you a bunch of different palettes. It's so this is your brand, and really, other than the black, nothing's really been established yet. So we're going to show you. You'll see them all, and you're like, oh, I really like that color, or I don't like that color. And after this, I think when you narrow it down to one, you give us some direction. We'll really craft the art direction. Right now, we're really trying to deliver on the conceptual thought of like, in this case, the car over the person in bed. And then again, if you chose this direction, we would probably spend several days and several layouts showing you all the different ways this could look.
Gotcha.
Okay. Area 2, just to shortcut it, this is the any way you want it area. There's many ways to tell it, but maybe there's an easier way. So we know the song. I won't play it for you, but I am going to play it for you in a little bit later when I get to another part of the story or this campaign. The TV spot, I believe we haven't changed really at all, which everyone was digging. Radio works really well, so I'll take you through the radio now. I will even maybe sing part of it because the song is critical to the radio as well. So starts off with a woman. If I shop at AutoIQ.com, can I buy a car in the middle of the night from my home? Any way you want it. Can I have it delivered to my home? That's the way you need it. Can I keep it for 7 days and then bring it back if the car's not right for me? Any way you want it. And then the voiceover. With AutoIQ, shop from anywhere at any time, choose from thousands of vehicles and have it delivered right to your home. So you can see it for yourself. And if it's not perfect, we'll come back and pick it up. No questions asked. Buy your next car any way you want it on AutoIQ.com. So works perfectly using the song intermittently throughout on each question that it asks, and any way you want it delivers on that it's doable in any of the different questions. And again, we can change the questions they ask to be on the right RTBs that you want to promote, but it's works perfectly in this format as well. And I think for radio in a car type of thing, or just listening, the song, repeating it a few times will make it even more catchy. Okay, we'll go on to the print. We have two different ways to do the print here. So I'll take you through both of them. So this is the reference that we're going to show you, is really merging where they might be and the car that they might want to get. So with this, again, this is where we're really at the mercy of computer comps and just what's available on the internet to use. So it's not going to look as maybe beautiful as if we got a retoucher and got the right exact shots, but you'll get the sense of what we're trying to do. So we've merged a bed and a couch with the car with the right color palette as well, so it feels a bit more seamless. And it would say something like, again, not designed perfectly yet. Buy your next car from anywhere, at any time, any way you want it. And then the phone, again, reinforcing the online nature of it. So we see the first girl in the bed, second gentleman on the couch. So he fits in. It would look seamless to the actual vehicle right now. You can see the edges and things like that. But we think it's a nice merging of the thought of anywhere and the car purchase. Okay, everyone's still following? So that's one way to do it. We're going to show you another. Oh, sorry, we've got the digital banner, of course, which is similar. Buy your next car at autobitic.com, anytime, anywhere, any way you want it. And we can play with all the different language in there and how many cars come in and out. Okay, so here's the second way to do this idea. And it's using your logo again. And it's kind of, you know, I find it pretty creative. So using the car as the representing the vehicle you're going to buy, but in a slightly different way than the first area. Anytime, anywhere, buy your next car any way you want it. And we show the different vehicle locations. Again, we don't have the right shots exactly, but it could be your driveway, it could be your parking spot, it could be on the road. And playing with the angle on the logo seems to add some more dynamism to it. But that's another way to potentially deliver on this idea of any way you want it. Okay, and the other thing that's good about the logo, using the logo, not that you need to, because we'll make sure the logo is prominent no matter what we do, is it is a new brand to most Ontario people. So it never hurts to have it. As you probably heard the joke, the clients say, make the logo bigger. Well, we made the whole ad the logo. So I think it's hard to make it bigger here. Okay. And here's where we get to some costs that we figured out working with a production company. We actually got, not me personally, but we actually spoke to Steve Perry in person about this. So the first hurdle is, does he accept the spot as something that he wants to slung on? And apparently the feedback was he thought it was very cute. So that's good. And he endorses it. So there's two ways to look at the cost of this. I'll talk about the first way, or let me give you the parameters. August to November, 4 months, TV, digital, well, I should have added radio. Radio's involved in here too. And corporate usage, so at like dealerships and things like that. So there's one way, which is licensing the master, which is the exact track that is on the CD or your iPod or whatever. So as the song exactly is. And that's $260,000, which they've negotiated down, because I think the starting point was $450. To use for that first flight. Another way to do it, which is more affordable, which I've talked to a music company about already, is the publishing rights. And that's $185,000, which includes, plus some session fees of getting some people to record it. And the reason why this is a good option for you guys is I really listened carefully to the song, and I can play it for you guys if you want to hear it for yourselves. But the part that we're using potentially for this commercial or this idea is the chorus, which does not have Steve Perry singing on his own. So it's a lot easier to replicate, and for the average consumer, think they're hearing the Journey song. I mean, it's the same notes, the same instrumentation, and the same words. But that part that's any way you want it, it's the group them singing. So it's a lot easier to replicate. Now, it won't be identical, but we can get really close to it. And it's something that is a nice, more affordable option if you think the first price tag is too high. Just want to note out that if you want to run this exact spot again next year, it would incur similar costs for the licensing, but there'll be zero production costs for the commercial because it'll already be shot and edited and all that stuff too. Any questions on that? Probably a meaty subject matter.
If we went with option 2 and decided to use it in 2022, we wouldn't have to pay for the person that's singing it again?
Yeah, there might be some like, we can get the details, but like these extra fees or things like that, like little fees for union kind of things, but no full session again, no, because we'll have already recorded it all. And then depending on the contract you build out, you can just buy it out as well from the session artists. So there's different ways to negotiate that depending on how long you want to use it. So I know it's big dollars and it's a big decision for a company of your starting point, but it's actually very good value. Like it's cheaper than I thought it was going to come in. So the negotiators did a really good job on getting the cost down for you guys on this one.
Can you tell Steve that I can sing every one of his songs, and we're a startup with zero revenue going into the cash register? And I can tell him a great San Francisco story with his San Francisco song playing. But my opinion is, just my opinion, but I think we'd want 2 years of it, this year and next year, to really have it being a meaningful launch. Mm-hmm. Then maybe decide, do we go on just for our crew as we're deciding. So maybe there's a twofer or a deal for the 2 years that gets us to a comfort level. So anyway.
One of the things they told me is that if you guys can commit to a number and a time now, and I said, I can't, I don't even know if they're picking this campaign. I just don't have that ability to commit on behalf of AutoIQ. I think you have to just negotiate it, because you can imagine like these guys get requests all the time. So unless they know you're really serious, they kind of put out some numbers out there. Not to say that our negotiator didn't make it very serious, but if this is the campaign you want to do, and to your point, Mike, this is the number of months you want to have it for, and we come back and say, we're in, if you can make this work for us, then that's a different negotiating moment than it is in sort of the inquiry stage, where they just kind of have to, they receive, probably call every week and they have to put out a number there. So until we're very serious, they give us sort of the rate card version. Again, not that it hasn't been negotiated down already, because they did start the conversation at $450.
Out of curiosity, where did the conversation start on the just the publishing piece? Was that a negotiated number too? Like if we were...
So I'll be totally transparent with you. The 185. So I've converted these to Canadian. It was US dollars. It was 150 US plus the session fee, and the 150 US is an estimation by the music company that we're working with, because typically the publishing right is around 60% of the master rights, but they bumped it up a little bit. Because you never know what they're going to say, but they didn't want to talk about the publishing rights yet. But the standard is like 50 to 60%. So because I really went after the song, I said, you got to look at the song. They came back with the publishing rights as an after. What if we did this? And I said, that's actually a really strong option to use, especially listening to the lyrics or to the song last night and really hearing the words. Not being so isolated to Steve Perry, which I was worried about. I mean, the new singers replicate Steve Perry perfectly, but I would feel I wouldn't feel as good about it if we had to replicate Steve Perry's voice by a session singer. But the chorus, I think we can probably do a better job of.
If we were to commit to this for a longer term, we may use more sampling of the song, though, I could see, right? Like, I mean, one just observation, hearing you sing out that radio play piece, it left me wanting more. It left me like, oh, play the song, give me the chorus, give me like, don't give me these little snippets, I want to hear it, I want to sing along in the car, right? So, it just might, if we were going this direction, we would want to make sure, I think, even on the publishing side, that we had a full track.
Yeah, we record the whole song.
Usable.
We'd record the
that was usable, right?
Yeah. So we'd have the rights and the actual sampling of the whole song. They wouldn't record just the chorus. They would record the whole song. We would have it. And we would have the layered files. So if you want to just use the instrumental bed sometimes, or just want to use the audio isolated, we could do that too. We would have that with the master too. You get the master version, and it gives you the separated tracks as well, typically. But yeah, okay. Well, we can get back to it if this is the direction. There's some flexibility here, and probably more discussion to be had. But the good news is Journey was receptive. Steve Perry was receptive, which is not always the case. A lot of these superstars say like, no, that's not a good spot. I don't want my music on that. So they were encouraged by the situation or the context it would be used in. And now we have a relationship, a dialogue with them, so we could go back if we wanted to.
So did they just approve the concept, or would we have to go back to them with each spot once we buy it?
I think I actually have the actual writing on it. If the spot changes notably, they would have to get it approved. If we change like how the words are used a little bit, the call to action, they don't have to be concerned about that. I think the word was notably, yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next area.
Just one other quick question, and this applies to all of them, but is the out of home, like I know you're showing us bus stops and billboards and that sort of stuff, but should we imagine the out of home as the digital placement as well?
What do you mean by digital placement?
Like I would presume, like you know, I can't remember the last time we bought a bus stop or a billboard, but we definitely are pretty significant, have significant presence on social media platforms and whatnot. So I'm just sort of the imagery, I guess. Should I imagine that that's kind of what will parlay over the digital place?
Yeah, well, there's two pieces to that. So we went through the media tissue session on Monday with Paul and Carrie, and there's a significant buy for digital in video play. So on YouTube and Instagram, so that Journey Spot would play on those. So, you know, we probably have a 15 or 30 version of it. So you would get the full commercial per se to play on those. For the static display banners, they're the versions that I showed you, for example, like these kind of things. Not that one, but.
So Andrew, for digital, for the digital display, they're like animated ads, if that makes sense. Like they're going to move from screen to screen while you're sitting there looking at it. Like it'll flip. So it's like it's called HTML5. So it's like a GIF almost, if that makes sense. So what you saw, those three images, it would be like flipping through those three images while you are looking at it. Within like a
Facebook scroll or Insta scroll or something in addition to the video.
Yeah, so probably for Facebook and Instagram would be the full video, the full commercial, cut down to a certain size. This would be Display Network, and it's quite a robust network, but would be while you're searching Google, just because I can't think of a better example to explain to you, but this would be like while you're doing searching on other websites and stuff. That would
like AutoTrader, right? You could probably put it on AutoTrader or Wheels.ca, that kind of stuff.
And for our team, I was talking to TJ this morning actually, and I've got a good friend who owns Parent Life and Student Life. It might not be applicable to Student Life, but Parent Life, they're leading edge digital. They want to do everything digital, and there might be, and we get a super deal. Like that could be their leading screen. I'll send you what they have today for Bank Montreal, get $3,500 cash back if you get a mortgage. He's about to do something with Ford again too. So that kind of thing, I think we want to think about too. Different platforms.
And I apologize, Mike and Andrew. I haven't shared the media plan with you yet because I still wanted to work through it a little bit. But you'll see in the presentation when I share, the digital display network is quite sophisticated. Like I've never used anything like this before, but it's the auction buying, how they retarget your ad or target your ads and then retarget is quite robust. So I'll share that, and Mike, I'll make sure like we pass on. I bet you Parent Life is probably part of that network for sure, but we'll inquire about that as well with the media team.
He'll give us some turbo boost, like some extra stuff, because he's at a point where he's doing some different things.
We can always buy separate out of the digital buy and just tack on the budget separately for Parent Life if that makes sense. I mean, the demographic seems to fit. It doesn't seem like it would fit.
And you know me, if it's not perfect, I don't want to spend 1 cent or even get it free if it's not perfect. But just might be one to look at again. It's really wrong in the time since we first started talking about it.
Well, and it might even be part of like maybe there's as we look through the influencer play on there might be a tie-in. You know, as you know, we've seen on Parent Life, they do a ton of contests and stuff, really, really big ones with parents. So probably maybe there's something there too we can consider.
Okay, I'll just move on to the third area, which is with AutoIQ, everywhere is your personal car dealership, like having your own dealership. So you guys know the TV, and I'll take you through the radio. We have two ways of showing this radio campaign. One is close to the TV, and then one is just a different way at it, and I'll just take you through both of them. So the first one's like the TV. Announcer comes in. When you buy a car at AutoIQ.com, you can shop anytime, anywhere. It's like having your very own dealership. You hear all these dogs barking. Can I buy a car at the dog park? Announcer says, yes. And then you hear like sort of like a golf gallery and golf swing. And someone's like, can I buy a car at a golf tournament? Sure. And then you hear, shh. And then you hear dentist drill. Car. Now, did you say dentist? Uh-huh. Then yes. But you probably shouldn't. With AutoIQ, shop from among thousands of vehicles and purchase your next car whenever you want, wherever you want. And even get it delivered right to your home. It's like having your very own dealership with AutoIQ.com. So that's playing off the TV, similar different situations. And then here's another way that just takes one situation and really pushes on that anywhere aspect, calling it optometrist. Now just rest your chin there, and we're going to do a simple eye exam. Okay, tell me what you see. A blue SUV, and how about now? A red convertible? So far so good. Now, here comes the tricky part. If you were me, which would you buy? The convertible or the SUV? I like the convertible, but my wife says it's a cliche for a guy my age. At AutoIQ, you can shop for a car anywhere, although there are some places you probably shouldn't, or you shouldn't. Choose from thousands of vehicles and have yours delivered right to your home. It's like having your very own dealership. Purchase your next car, wherever, whenever, with AutoIQ.com. So just to recap, one is really going through different places, having some fun with that. One is really dramatizing, spending some time with the moment of where they could be and buying a car there. When we go to out of home and print, we have a very rough comp, which you might have saw when I was flipping through. Again, we're just putting pieces together to make this, so it's not looking like it would. But it's showing a person with a car dealership around them. So imagine it done with a shoot, and we can have multiple situations. I'm sure you can brainstorm a bunch. We talked about someone walking their dog, someone in their bed. We would just create the different scenarios, and what that would look like in potentially out of home is now anywhere can be a dealership. Buy your next car anytime, anywhere. AutoIQ.com. So again, the language we can adjust and change, but really trying to nail that anywhere is a car dealership thought tied to the visual where that's referencing that as well.
Brent, can you show the TV visuals again?
Yeah, I'll take you through the overall copy. It's a woman walking in her bedroom in the morning. She's looking at her iPad. You can kind of see it's AutoIQ on it. Opens her closet. The big inflatable tube man comes billowing out, filling the room. And then she's eating dinner with her family. She shows her iPad to her daughter. And then as the husband stands up, his head hits those flag things. And then at nighttime, she's walking through the house. It's definitely nighttime. Maybe you can tell everyone's asleep. She's lit by the iPad. And she's got to avoid these cars that are in her way, and probably matches the ones on her phone, on her iPad. And then she turns the corner. There's those big spotlights shining. And then maybe the next day, steps outside, and you see the AutoIQ truck delivering the car at home, in front of the house. And the language is, when you shop for a car on AutoIQ, it's like having a dealership in your home. You can shop from anywhere, at any time, and have it delivered right to your home. AutoIQ, the revolutionary way to buy a car, completely online, great selection, and a 7-day money-back guarantee. It's like having your very own dealership.
I really hope that if she's buying a red Jeep, what you said, the red Jeep would be on the screen and then in the room.
Yeah, for sure.
To really get that message across. And one other thing that, in case my team kicked me off the aisle at some point in these discussions, I've had access to global studies, and I don't know if you've seen the recent Airbnb stories or all the things like, I just say what I said last time, that delivered to your home, but almost always, or at the dealership, or just I don't want them to think that's the only way this works, because some people are scared to death of that still. That will change over time, just like automated answering, all the different things that change in the world, but I hope the team keeps thinking about that. I've seen deep research on this, and it scares people in some parts of the world. The online experience can be delivered at the local police station. Maybe not the dealership where there isn't a dealership, but where a person wants, but a safe zone. So anywhere where you want it, anywhere you want it ties into that. I just sometimes when I hear us saying that deliver at your home, I don't want that to be the hanging chad last thought in a person's mind that, oh, this only works if they come to my house. And they just read about Airbnb, a horror story, and blah, 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 blah. So,
Yeah, no, that's an easy, I mean, visually we might show it coming to your home because it's a nice proposition, but the language we can change it to, you know, anywhere, including picking up at one of our, you know, 17 dealerships across Ontario, whatever that message you want to say.
It doesn't even need to happen. I just wanted to first this thought, and with my team, you guys can decide, our team can decide, but I've seen the research on it, and it still might be a little early to have a person thinking that's the only way this works. So, let's figure out if there's a way to do it. If not, I'm fine with the way it is.
Yeah. Another thing to do on this is maybe putting out in the mass media the most disruptive thought or the most compelling thought. But when you get to the website, you detail all the ways you can really receive the car in different ways to get it any way you want it. So I think as a messaging hierarchy, we can keep the mass delivering on maybe the most people want, and then when you get onto the website, it'll detail all the different ways. That's just another way to look at it.
Yeah, the new, I mean, just one last thought because you sparked it, but the new way, have a car pulling up to the driveway, or if you want the old way, and show them in the dealership. Safe and not away, you know, their 19-year-old daughter who lives 200 miles away is not having someone come to their apartment. Yeah, makes sense.
We're going to show you one other way to do this visually. Again, it's a comp, so we don't have the right stuff. But it's the thought of the dealership at your front door. So, you know, bring the dealership to your door. It's literally the front door, and then you know, shop in thousands of cars anytime from anywhere. It's another way to tell this story. It's a little bit different. It's not where you are as a dealership. It's a dealership at your front door. I think they're pretty synonymous. They're interchangeable, but we would probably pick one direction or the other to bring it to life. Okay. I'll just set up. So those are the three campaigns developed in radio and out of home and some digital. We also, as mentioned, have some thoughts on influencer and how we could potentially use them or who we can use. So we have a few examples, and Graham's going to walk you through a few of those. Do you want to set up anything, Graham, before I go on to the next page?
No, and I won't take too much time on this, but just to show you some direction of how we think about it. I mean, really, and you might know some of these people, you might not, but the idea is to find people that are going to connect with your target audience, of course, and also people who we think are good content creators, number two. And number three, maybe they have a moment or a reason to make the journey. That's a kind of a tertiary one because you don't necessarily need it, but it can sometimes help tell the story. So these are just some examples of how we think through it. Some of you may know Pavel Barber. He's like a trick shot guy in the hockey world. He makes a lot of content, very popular with like suburban Canadians. Like Pavel Barber is one of the go-to kind of follows on Instagram. He's just really engaging, creates really great content. You're probably going to get something from him that's really clever, right? So it's probably going to be somebody who's going to play around with an idea, come up with something where he's shopping in an innovative way or creative way. That shows the ease and simplicity of using the product. If we went with someone like him, and I'm going to compare it and contrast it to someone like Courtney, who's, you know, there's like a lot of the mom influencers essentially, you know, reviews products, like really comfortable in the brand world, has young children at home, you know, and is kind of seen as like a trusted source of recommendations for their target audience. Her content's not going to be as exciting, it's not going to be as engaging, but it's be super clear, and she'll deliver a recommendation for her target audience, which is mostly like young parents, young mothers in particular. So again, I guess influencers kind of comes down to a preference thing as well in terms of the style that we want, and we can mix and match if we feel that way. Of course, it's always a budget thing. And I do want to show you a couple other examples, and we can kind of just talk about it more broadly. You know, here's a different way at it. You can go a little bit of if you want to talk to a slightly different audience, maybe like a upper middle kind of tier class sort of system. You can go with someone like Catherine and Randy Feltis, professional chef, makes beautiful meals. They just had they're expecting a baby, so they have a life moment. that we can latch onto and tell the story, because I'm sure this is familiar in your world, that having children is a major moment for often buying a vehicle. And so we can create something around that. A similar Kevin Perry on the right hand side also, they just had their first child, him and his spouse. He's a content creator. He'll create more engaging and fun visual content for us, and also has the moment of his wife and him having a new baby. So that's the approach.
Yeah, I was just going to add our social media specialists let us know that Catherine and Randy, their Instagram account is called Catherine Wants, and she specifically thought, oh, it works really well with Any Way You Want It. Apparently, whatever she wants, he makes for her as a meal. So there was a play on words that might naturally fit that whole Instagram platform that they use of Catherine Wants. Anyway, just a nice connection.
So and here's some other options. A lot of couples, a couple of content creators, and I know there's a lot of people here. So I think maybe what I want you to think about is, if you really want like a very straightforward product demo life moment thing, there's people we can choose. And if we want to err towards creating this like unique and fun and potentially shareable content, I always use that word lightly because you really pay to play influencers like any other media. But there's people who are going to create unique content for you, and it's going to be a little bit more engaging and different. And so that's sort of the split where we can mix and match. So it really depends on your feelings and the kind of stuff that you like and think your target audience likes. So.
And just in case you're not sure how it completely works with the media aspect of it, let's just take one of these people, Ryan George. He or they would create some content which would go to their followers, but what we do is then promote their post to the specific target that we're reaching. So if it's 24 to 49 that are, through Instagram, a specific type of profile, they're active or whatever is the right one that we want to speak to, the right target demo, then we would promote that content and it shows up as an ad on that target's feed. So it's not just relying on their followers, which is just a great thing as a bonus, but we would also target our target.
And I know we're jumping back and forth but as a final note, I would say our recommendation, our preference typically is to go with what I call the content creators. So they'll have all our barbers and maybe the Catherine Wants, where they're going to create a story around it and tell something versus a pure review, functional demonstration. But we've done it the other way lots of times where people just give you a very clear product demo of how it works. I just find that paid media people tend to watch it more if you get the content creation in there as well.
Interesting that in our market, one of our bigger markets, Randy Feltus is a bit of a celebrity chef. And I was at a dinner party with him the last time. It was okay. A friend of ours used him on Bistro 66 for Pratt's, used him for their marketing around the whole real estate development. And so he's a big personality, a great character. So that's an interesting one that you might not normally think has a geographical tie-in, but that was one of our bigger markets.
Yeah,
great.
I was thinking that too, like it might be something to consider, like if we've got 4 stores in Barrie and he's from Barrie and same with his wife, and maybe there's something we should consider there because he is probably maybe a little bit more well-known there than others.
There's been like a massive billboard of him on Mapleview. Andrew, if you come out toward Friday Harbor at Karen's, some of those neighborhoods that are going up in South Barrie. And he was the big promotion behind this whole condo development that was themed around gourmet kitchens, and he was sort of the guy that drove that. So interesting, just an interesting side point.
Yeah. Are you guys familiar with a guy by the name of Peter McKinnon?
Not by name, no.
Okay. He's a YouTuber and an influencer that's connected with some of our brands that we just sold the vehicle and has just started to creep him a little bit. And anyway, maybe there's
if there's people that you guys know that you already have a pre-existing relationship with, then that's the easiest path for us to go down as well. So let us know if you go down that direction.
not to sidetrack too much, but Andrew, as soon as you say that, I see a Raptor Bronco spot that goes out to his, like all his people. He's sort of an off-roader for the butterfly people. There's something there. There's a lot of little subsections that could be pretty interesting. But a spot maybe around it where you want it, you see the Raptor flying 30 feet through the air. And I think there's a lot there.
That's right.
So that takes us to our summary page. I'm going to just state again, while these images are referential to the different areas, they're directional for you to think about the territory, and we would really finesse and really, design and work with Carrie and team to get the right look, the right, colors and whatever it is, and messaging, of course, to Mike's point about the delivery, for example. And that includes the TV, the radio, and the print and display. So, but directionally, here's a good visual example of the 3 territories. And I'll just open it up to everyone to see what their thoughts are. If things have changed now that you see it sort of rolled out a bit from where you were on Thursday when we presented. Was it Thursday? I can't remember now. Or has it been reinforced that the area you like is the one that you like the best?
I was just going to say I found your use of the logo pretty interesting. Like I never would have thought it could work in any of these instances. So I think that that's pretty neat that you guys have been able to incorporate that for sure. I don't know. I think maybe do we need to, Ottawa team, do we need to take it offline and sort of narrow it down between the 3? Have just a side discussion, or is there one that's maybe standing out more than the others?
I'm kind of torn between all of them right now. Like I still really like the first one and how it's the misdirection on it, and I like how it plays on radio and in some of the print. I like the logo overlay. The third one I like more now than I did before because I just see all the different ways you can use it in different placements, different mediums, and continue to get stories out of it. I don't know, Carrie or the Angry Butterfly team, have you put any thought into, so I know we talked that any way you want it, we could have a really scaled down production and the money all go towards the song. Do we have a thought on what production costs might be on the others if you're trying to compare buying the song to what production costs might be on the other 2 options?
Yeah, we had some top line discussions with production. The journey one, any way you want one, is the simplest because it's really 1 or 2 locations in some type of boardroom situation, and then the truck being delivered to a home. So 2 locations, pretty straightforward. When you get to the other 2, you're looking at we might be able to shoot the third one in one location, but we'd have to find the perfect home that could sort of house it all, no pun intended. It's doable. We probably need a decent sized house. This would cost money, but we could probably shoot it all in one day-ish. I don't know if Gary, you have any thoughts on that, but I think it's a doable one day. The first one, unless we can make the different places look like different places, like we have found one home, but somehow we can art direct it so they look like all different places and different people. We might have to be in different locations for that one, depending on, because one person's at work, one person's at home.
We probably cheat 3 locations in the first one. I feel confident that we could achieve that. The second one, I don't think, the last one, I don't think we initially go. It's just a matter of scouting the right place. And then it allows you to show you're still in film there.
So I think they're all affordable. We purposely wrote them to be affordable other than the song component. But I think the second one's the cheapest, and the other 2, I mentioned to Carrie the other time we're talking that there might be on the third one using some more post-production, whether it's CG or a lot of different types of retouching and things like that. The other thing I'll say is the out-of-home affects the production budget as well, because, for example, the second one, that's the Ottawa Key logo in different places, we can probably get away, and Gary, feel free to jump in, with stock photography and a really great retoucher. The first one, we might be able to get away with stock and retoucher, but you might have to shoot it depending if you don't get the right angles. The red one, we probably have to shoot at least the person in the couch or bed to match the vehicle that we'll get at stock. Because you can get a car pretty much in any position these days. The third one would be almost undoubtedly a shoot, where we'd have to shoot all the components in situation, maybe with some retouching.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead, sorry. Get off there.
No, I just think I would agree with that. The first one, you just need to be wide. And with stock, it's just trying to find left, right, and top, so that the car overlay feels proportionally kind of correct, because right now the layout it's not. The middle one for sure, I think you can definitely achieve with stock. Even the people sitting on a bed or a couch. I found a lot of good stock shots of people sitting. Lying down was a bit of a comp job. That one might need a shot. And then, yeah, definitely the last one's a shoot.
I guess the other thing we'd want to consider too is stock's great, but everybody can have usage to that. Like we can buy, correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, but like I know we can buy some stock images, but it costs a lot to restrict other people from using them in certain regions. But so we might want to consider some authentic original shots, so we know that they're never going to be seen anywhere else. I mean, if we're spending this much on media, we want to make sure it's someone goes, oh yeah, I saw that on another ad. So it's not something that we want to consider.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
For the Auto IQ team as well, like just to give you, because I didn't share the media budget, so there's obviously 4 main categories. So first is TV, which the media team is recommending CP24, just for efficiency, cost, and reach, as opposed to going to each individual regional market. So it's actually a little bit more inexpensive that way than trying to do multiple independent buys. And then the second area is out of home, so that would be bus shelters, and those are in our primary market. So, and again, given obviously we need you all to weigh in on the finalization of this, but what was proposed would be like Barrie, Kitchener, Hamilton, Niagara, St. Thomas. And then the third piece is radio. And so this is the one that took me probably the most by surprise, but their recommendation is still mass radio and using the local stations in each market. So that I think we need to discuss to see if that's something we want to go ahead with, knowing some of our feelings on radio. And then lastly is digital, which is a massive digital. That's the biggest piece of the budget. Is digital using Instagram and Facebook video, YouTube, obviously, and then a digital display. So right now we've just got to really work through the new timing that we changed this morning, and just come back and then give you a better presentation of what the budget breakdown looks like for each of those channels. Like for example, like I was thinking, I don't know how you feel about this, Mike, but I don't know whether it's worth paying for a bus shelter in St. Thomas. Like I feel like that's more of a drivable market.
There's no sense. All of our advertising in St. Thomas should be in London, and like all the radio we did to build us up over the years, it was all in London.
Yeah, so in radio, for sure. So then it might be take the budget out of St. Thomas for the bus ad or bus shelter, and then we can use that towards more digital display or up the radio or whatnot. I mean, I'm kind of just talking, out of turn here with having it all in front of me, but that's sort of the thinking that I'm at, so we can try to fit in everything that we want to do. So we should have that out too, hopefully, like after we talk to Jennifer after this call, by maybe tomorrow.
I mean, if you guys want to discuss offline, that's cool. Or if you guys want to give your initial thoughts, gut thoughts, now that you've seen the rest of the rounded work.
Yeah, I think maybe we should talk. What do you guys think? Have a quick sidebar, all of us? And I mean, just in our timeline, we do need to make a decision. What do you think, Brent, by end of day tomorrow, I would think?
Yeah, I know you said narrow, but I think it's really picking. I'll use narrowing.
Pick one of 3 is what we have to do.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate that you like them all, Paul, but
the good news is we have great ideas for the next go round, right?
Yeah.
No, I completely get what you need to choose. I'm more torn now than I was last week.
Which one, Paul?
I think last week I was pretty strong on Any Way You Want It, and now I kind of like the other two as well. So, and just trying to wrap my head more around, including the song purchase and the production, what's our spend on these three approximately? That kind of weighs in.
Yeah,
I want to see the spend because the first one I would think plays the best on radio. I can just hear that, you know, I do it again, like I do it here, I do it there, like I do that on radio pretty solid. The How Do You IQ? But the visual is better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
for budget, what we can, sorry, Andrew, just for budget, I think, so for number 1 and number 3, we're still within our budget of $800K, including media production, Angry Butterfly. If we want to do the song, we're looking at that incremental. Now, this is until we get into it and see where we can maybe shade some more cost with locations, like Gary was talking about. But I think to plan for the high end, it would be the 800 plus the cost of the song.
So don't take any silence or lack of comments as sort of any you guys did a great job. Like probably just exactly what everybody's saying. It's hard to choose because you did such a good job developing all of these. And I guess whatever we choose now doesn't put us using some other piece of it in the future. And to me, radio is relatively easy and inexpensive to produce. So if we wanted to mix it up, I presume like pretty easily, shortly into the campaign, we could say, we want radio spots from each of these campaigns, or this other one did. I'm probably cringing and hearing me sort of bastardize a very streamlined, smooth campaign. But I think we just need to chat about it a little bit offline and chat some more. But I think they all be great.
Of course, no, you guys do what you guys need to do. I think there's a lot of flexibility between these campaigns. My natural position is some of them don't flex over to within another campaign, but some of them do. So it just depends on which one you're talking about. I think, for example, I like doing it in dead radio. We could change the ending, so it's an Any Way You Want It ending, for example. The song Any Way You Want It, that one kind of fits only within that category, and obviously you're going to pay the money for that, you probably just play the crap out of it in every medium you can. So there's some that the third one almost feels like it's its own thing. Like I don't know how you move that into other places, but maybe there's a way. So
for great consistency, you probably wouldn't want to mix and match because I mean people are going to be hearing this message in many different ways. We want it to really stick. And if you're mixing and matching, it might make it a little confusing. That's my
visually. Also visually, you want to start identifying. I know what this brand looks like. You know, whether it's the color or the logo. Like let's just say that silhouette or the Auto IQ logo in car locations. Let's just say you're using that, just whatever, or the dealership around a person. You want that to start being identifiable and ownable to you guys. So whenever you see that, people are driving by a dealership, they go, oh yeah, that reminds me of an Auto IQ ad or the silhouette. Eventually you want to be, eventually, not soon. Like the Nike swoosh or Apple logo where you just, that does almost all the work for you. But that's obviously in the long run.
It is interesting because also the launch, everyone's thinking about around which launch is better. That could help. Like you say, you don't want to be blending them all together, but over time you might go through different ones. Which one launches better?
Yeah.
And which one shares the heavy lifting with marketing our 17 locations? To really get our partners and managing partners and general managers excited too that when Auto IQ is on the radio for this venue, it's also people are thinking about their place. And I just see that as a lot of added value there.
I mean, just speaking to that, the third one seems to be mostly about not being at the dealership, which is its strength, as the dealership is everywhere you are. Definitely the first one could be anywhere, it could be the dealership, and then the Any Way You Want It is very inclusive of dealerships. Any way you want it. So the first and second seem to do that, Mike. The third one seems to be a bit more contrary to that.
I've said too much, I'll get fired if I go too much further, but I'm a closet creative. So I see any way you want it and showing one way, pour this back to the dealership. The second way, or this, the old way. The third way, and maybe three different, I've got all kinds of thoughts.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So Carrie, I can send you this deck. So you have it. And then we can just stay in touch on when you want to regroup.
Great.
Sound good? Everyone's good? Awesome.
Great.
Nice work.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See you guys soon. Bye.
Thanks, Francine.
Bye.
Hey.
Hey, Gary.
Hello.
Hey. Are you still eating lunch, Andrew?
No, I'm done lunch, but I'm still in the car. I haven't moved yet.
Are you smoking out? Because I was going to say, like, it must be so hot in there.
I'm killing the environment with the air conditioning.
Yeah.
I couldn't recognize the roof of the car. That's why I wrote that question. Asking what you're driving.
Yeah. You think Mike got that from text? Should I email him?
I think he'll get it.
Yeah, he's been replying to it. So.
Okay. Good. One thing about budget, though, just quickly, because I talked to Brent, as you guys know, right before this call, and I think of the high end being prepared to do $800K plus the cost of the song is like the high end. But yeah. I think it will be less, but I would be afraid to commit to that until we actually get a little bit further in. And then the other thing too is just there's a couple things I need to add into the budget that I'd like to do. In that 800K, so one is a bit of PR budget. I had a great call with your guy this morning. But again, I want to get everybody's feelings on that if that's something we want to do. And then secondly is just I need to include some search engine marketing into the budget, which wasn't originally part of the proposal. So I got to play around with that a bit. That's why I was saying it's 800 plus the cost of the song.
Right.
Okay, this is like a moment of truth moment. Are we going to Hollywood or are we staying at the Stratford Festival?
Yeah.
Mike's giving away his opinion.
I think
I was born in
Stratford, so don't try to assess us.
did really well, Mike, though. Like, what do we want to launch with? I personally think any way you want it is like the most hardest hitting, memorable one that's gonna. That's me personally, I think.
Okay. And I would say this about that I can stomach that. And by the time you had 20,000 to 185 for the person to make it sound like them, I think it'd be a cooler legacy play to tell the story one day for Andrew getting interviewed about Pastor Carvana and market cap and Paul and Andy were on screen. And they talk about the story about the marketing agency talking to Steve Perry. And him liking the idea and buying into it. And it having really be them, I know it might not sound the same, but just the thought. But that ties in with the negotiation. And I believe I know this world pretty deep, not that I've been in it, being so close to Ford. And there is commission everywhere. So I just believe in total transparency. So we should find out from them, like, when Steve Perry has his catalog item to sell, it's like anything in the world is sold, especially in the advertising world, there's a commission on it. So I just think they should ask those questions. They may or may not be making money on this, right? When they sell it. They have access to him. So again, there's a product that's being sold. We're selling it to us. You guys just deserve to know if they are great. And like a design build or a custom build of a building. You just might want to know that might help you with your negotiation on it to make it 15 points or something on that. That's good. But I'd still stomach it, but I wish we could get a better deal. Like a 2 year. Don't you think if that's our launch
I agree.
this year and next year?
We'd have to pivot in November to not using the song or rebuy, right?
And then after 2 years,
Sorry, go ahead.
if you loved it after 2 years and we're on our way, then it's an easy decision to pay $200 grand a year every year to keep upping it. And then until it becomes tired, and you keep this catalog of other great ideas and transition. But the 2 years will give you, that's why I say it's a moment of truth. If we're really serious, and I can tell you, Andrew knows I definitely am. So I'm behind it 100%. If we're really going to do this right, then that 2 year launch would tell us, I think we know within that time that, wow, we're the next Carvana, or we're not quite that, but we're ahead of some of the others out there, and it's still going to be fun. And when I say the next Carvana, I mean 1/10 scale Canadian, sort of a version of it, at least in the beginning. So that just leaves me with $800,000 budget. I just wouldn't mind at some point a 25-minute review of the plan. I just tried to stay out of everybody's hair. Every snippet I hear is just blowing me away, so I feel good about it. But I just wonder, like, where how are we going to get more cars? The van strategy and dealerships trying to get cars is great. Is there an artificial way, kind of like what friends did when they beefed up? Is there a way to beef up to 1,200 units for the launch? The stuff you guys have talked about mirror and editing behind the scenes, what now isn't totally digital and set up, just to make sure we maybe overspend to have quality control in place that our reviews go off the charts from day one, and by off the charts I mean upward and not downward. So this may be one little reality check. I know you all are aware, I'm just not quite up to speed of how this launch is going to go and what's going to happen, because I think there will be people coming in when the door opens digitally and the leads are coming in. This morning I just popped in, tried to stay away from a lot of meetings, popped into the 88 and e-lead meeting, and that just gives me so much confidence that maybe looking back in the mirror, we haven't been super strong on either phone leads, but man, you guys got a great plan to get us there. So I think everything we do for the group, the dealerships, the physical dealerships, applies to here and vice versa. So anyway, that's just my gut. Just so everybody knows I'm okay from a board level at the spend.
What is the ramp up plan, Mike's referring to, Andrew, to get to 1,200?
It might not be 1,200.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, but.
We don't really have anything articulated or put together yet, Paul, but it would probably be working with the people that are calling acquisition and just saying, let's go.
No, sorry, I preferred that you knew someone who did it before. I was wondering what it was they did.
I'm not sure what that references to.
All right.
A conversion strategy too, by the way, to new vehicles. I know we can't really launch it, and we're not really ready to launch it. But again, if any of you are struggling with 800,000, which will turn into more, and all the other things we'd have to have ready for that, it'd be nice to have that built in the plan. Okay, leads coming not new. I guess we're just going to deal with that in the same way. But we want to be ready for those because that's what happened with CarMax. I'm not as familiar with how the first leads came out of Carvana. But CarMax market themselves, everybody just thought that's where you get a car. Any car, newer used, and you don't ever see them. They don't push used car superstores. They're just a place to get a car. So.
Which is the same message for Ottawa Q. So we're actively sort of second guessing on that right now. And trying to build the next track new. It looks like we can do it, but it has significant costs associated to it. Are you guys getting a great amount of feedback? I can echo.
You're okay.
A little bit. It sounds like you might be getting some yourself.
Yeah. I'm on AirPods, so it shouldn't be too bad. And I'm in a sequestered pod. But anyway. I'd like to sort of step. I've seen that budget at a sort of level at 30,000 feet, but I'd like to break it out and see. I know, Kerry, you listed the spend by media and by timeline. And each of those medias by timeline. I think it'd be good to slow that a little bit and sort of drill down a touch.
Yeah.
As far as sorry.
I think Paul and I should regroup because I think as we go along, it's been more cost per month. Paul, do you think? Because I want to go through the media budget a little bit more with the media team before I hand it over to you, because now we've changed the timeline. So what days is Wednesday? Like by end of Friday, would that be okay? And then I can have the cost back from the potential PR agency if we're going to do that. Got podium socket coming in. Just a few other things. Is that fair? Like we get to by end of day Friday.
Paul, do you feel okay? All of that.
Yeah.
We'll just lump it all in, and then we can go through.
Put it all in a spreadsheet for you or whatnot and show you.
Okay. And just with regards to three campaigns, I like all three of them. I still like 2 and 3 the best. I think Anybody Wanted is awesome. I think it has a real legitimizing sort of sense. Like Paul, you saw Dilawri launch there. You saw it through, Newswire and other sort of PR sources. There's no real media launch.
No consumer would have seen that.
Pardon me?
No consumer would have seen that.
Right. And when you go to the site, sort of the limping approach and all that sort of stuff, like nobody's gone to market with this. And even Clutch, like Clutch had they have 33 units yesterday, by the way. But even Clutch has like one billboard that I've ever seen, and I see the odd Facebook ad. So the whole first mover advantage that we've been talking about, we still have it. And I think if we do it the only way you want it, it's not like a little ripple in the big pond. It's like a freaking cannonball. It's like holy shit, these guys are serious. And the industry can look at it and say, yeah, they're just using Roadster, they're just using whatever. The mousetrap isn't anything we can do. But as far as it's really just launching a consumer brand, right? So I like 2 and 3. I need to sort of think on it a little bit more. Like if I wasn't such a music nut, would I like 2 as much as I like 3? I don't know. I'm leaning to 2 though.
I feel like number 3 is something that like everybody is still saying right now, bring the dealer to your home. And I know that's kind of where value is. I get that. And I think I just the visuals just have to be really good to make that feel different than the message that's already out there. Which I think is what they're doing, and I think that's what they can do and what they've sort of shown us. But
I like any way you want visuals. I like the couch being mixed in with the car, and like that was cool. Like I think there's some very neat sort of execution there.
I was hoping for brighter colors. I was hoping for like a not blue darks and I mean red is red. I don't think you can do that. Not because Andrew, but just Trader is so red. But I was hoping
they can make that anything you want there. Like
anything you want. I like the red, and I be careful again. That one my favorite course ever said, be careful controlling the creative too much. It's okay to do that with your house. When the designer says blue and you want green, because that's your house. And you got to matter to you. We need to know what everybody will react to the best. So be careful there. But I like 2 and 3 a lot. And that song resonates with everybody. And I think it would. So for the launch, that's
should we maybe ask Butterfly to go back, negotiate a 2-year, see what that number comes back at? Obviously, I'll ask for a little transparency on the breakdown of that number. And
I could make an offer.
Yeah, we could do that too.
It's a gut check, like you said, Mike. It's like this is big. Can we back up the story we're selling? It's like all these other little like buying a freaking song and all this stuff. So that's a question really for you, Paul. But you don't need to answer the second. You need to be ready to answer in about a week.
I feel really nervous about August, even by us pushing it out 2 weeks. I personally do.
We're not launching August, so I think you guys go September.
For TV, but we were going to launch every other medium for 2 weeks in August. It's only 2 weeks, but I mean, To me, if you're gonna just go out for 2 weeks, maybe just wait and try to move it up a little bit number. But then give us that extra month to get everything organized. That's my feeling on it. I know we want to get to market fast, but I just with just trying to work through all the tech on my end right now. It's a bit slow. And we're trying to push everybody as fast as we can.
Even get some of those simple things, but if I can't get a zoning letter quickly from the city of Kitchener, we may need to go a business license. That takes 2 or 3 weeks. That delays which delays lenders, which delays dealer checks. Sorry.
All the feedback I'm getting is yours.
All right.
My 2 cents on this timeline is, can you hear Paul? My 2 cents on the timeline is, Andrew will tell you this, I'm usually day isn't quick enough, but I'm very impressed with the speed you guys are moving at. So I would certainly never critique it if for the right launch, we had to delay a bit. I have strong feelings that this summer, and it ties in with our low inventory, it might be kind of lucky. The friggin' school day stores are gonna open and school's out, picture Alice Cooper, and the doors fly open and people are gonna be having fun and spending their money on fun. And then the fall they'll get back and hopefully kids go to school and then they'll say, okay, still got some money left, let's buy vehicles. So I don't know. Nobody can guess that for sure. Everything could explode. There could be a bunch of people that didn't go to car dealerships because they thought it was wrong. We don't know, but anyway, whatever you guys come up with the timeline, I'm so impressed that it doesn't impact me. But I always want to say that, Carrie, that when I notice the same house in a movie scene that I saw in another house, my friends get creeped out and think I'm really weird. So don't worry too much. You're saying, we might want to pay extra for some of the scenes, just thinking on the creative. Most people won't notice that kind of thing. So that's all I'd say on some of those things as you get to them, that we don't need. And if what was the line you didn't like in the third one, that bring it to your home?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, I feel like it's something we say a lot right now. Bring the dealership to you. Like it's
We do for in-market customers though, Carrie. Like it's all like if someone ends up on our website.
We didn't spend money on that. But other dealerships are saying the same thing too.
Everybody's saying the same thing. So if somebody's in market, they're going to go shop a couple stores. They're all going to say that. But it's ubiquitous to you. It's not to the consumer, I don't think.
That's all I'm getting at. What was the other one I heard years ago? Don't worry about your creative being too creative. It's not for us to say that's a one-off. It's what's going to have the most impact. So it'd be nice to be fresh and different on everything, but some of those things are so hardworking. You want to think about that. But anyway, I'm good with any of them. Of course, won't make an opinion totally. So
every day matters for us to secure more inventory too, especially if you're going to go to market. Like no matter what we go to market with, new, used, none of those ads say that we're a used car dealer. None of them say that we're a new car dealer. It's just buy your next car. So I think with that sort of copy, we need to be able to deliver on some, being able to click and buy. And Mike, we also need to be prepared for our OEMs to clap back at us on that, which may happen, right?
On the new side?
Yep.
So the new side, can we spend a second on that? Like I'm saying, we advertise like car, it's just Auto IQ, and they're going to go in and they're going to see our sites. And our theme was mainly in the beginning used, but if someone's in Auto IQ and they see a new, we're not going to tell them to get lost, right?
So in fact, we're taking it to the next level right now of making sure that if they click on new, there's a method for them to buy, but they won't be buying from Auto IQ. It'll actually defer back. Well, we don't know exactly how it'll work yet, but the plan is it'll defer back to the store. So we're going to have to represent when we get that phone call, because we will, from Toyota or Ford or whoever, saying, hey, this person said you're advertising in their market, London. Oak Ridge called, you're advertising in their market, selling Fords. No, Auto IQ is advertising in their market. Auto IQ is a marketplace that we advertise on, and they found our car and they decided to buy it from us.
Well, if anyone can advertise in London, St. Thomas can advertise in London, just not a billboard or a mall display. As long as it comes into your market, Kitchener can't. So yeah, that's technical on Auto IQ. but Auto IQ is in St. Thomas, so it can advertise in, as long as the Free Press always qualified, even the paper, as long as there's enough that goes to your community, it's fair game. So that wouldn't be a problem. But yeah, for just what you said,
Well,
there's OMVIC in here too. Like, we've got to make sure we're covered for them, that we're not selling from the location from where the vehicle is on used. On new, you've covered the problem by saying it goes back to the store, because they could hit us on that. You can't even sell a car with OMVIC or your OEM from a mall if it's not approved generally. So think about how that works on new. But if that might be on used, you might have your whole team on new, like you've mentioned, Andrew, and I'm sure you've all talked about it. You might have a De Silva in one place and Steve and Derek up at Chrysler. And you might have different people in different stores that could take the new leads, so we can stay legit if we need to. Just something we should research.
so they did get back to us, Andrew, that high level, you can add one rooftop from each OEM and make it work. So we had one Ford store, one GM, one Stellantis.
That makes it a lot more palatable from a cost perspective. Still more expensive than we anticipated, but like, to me, if we don't do that, Paul Carey in particular, because Mike's not necessarily completely briefed on this yet, but if we don't do that, we're just like, we're not committed to our strategy of e-commerce, are we? Like, we're like, oh, you can buy used, but we're too cheap to make it so you can buy new. Like, if we believe that this is yeah.
But just walk me through what this means. So pretend I'm in Peterborough, and I saw it on CP when I was looking for the premiere and the doctor's updates on COVID. Hopefully, and they'll still be watching in September. The world will still be watching. So I see it on there. I go into autoiq.ca, and I want a new Hyundai. What's going to happen to me that's not going to have the Hyundai guy, our friends, Andrew, complaining that we're offside?
Well, CP24, like you said, is an ad medium that is available in the market we're in and in that other market. So we're allowed to advertise on it, right?
Got it.
Just like ICP. So I think we're okay there. If the client finds the Hyundai, then and they go through to click on proceed, it's gonna be evident that they're buying from Kitchener Hyundai, offering delivery to the door. There's a possibility that Hyundai could give us grief, or give us grief that we're not delivering from our recognized facility. But we're transacting from it, saying,
lost you, Andrew.
Any computer system is unsafe.
Hyundai and Stellantis will give us medals, actually.
Yeah. Well, Hyundai just launched a whole ad covenant program. Carrie's read it. I've read it. It really is quite
restrictive. Is that
it's
what
pretty
you're
funny.
Correct. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed both.
It's quite restrictive. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
And so I called Hassage and I said,
Oh, we lost you, Andrew. Yep, sorry, we're leaving you. Oh, Andrew, you're cutting in and out. Sorry.
How about now?
Yep, got you now.
Okay. I was just moving on the lot. Sorry. And anyway, Haas called Don, and Don said, Haas, relax. If you got any problem, just call me. You do whatever you want. So that's Hyundai. But there are others that are a little more restrictive, precise on following their policies, right?
So what should we do to preempt? Like, we should be ready with a lifeboat in case we take some torpedoes of how we might have to cut one brand out. I can't see how they could stop that if we go through the dealership. We just might have to get tighter on our protocols.
So if I don't know these DSSAs real well, the risk is if we're
As long as we're not
advertising-
putting a billboard up.
So the bus stop, for example, we have a bus stop in London, and someone buys a Toyota from seeing that ad, and we don't have one in market. That is the risk we're trying to cover.
And maybe you don't do that, guys, in the launch. You maybe, you know,
We have to take the position that Auto IQ is a marketplace.
I just say though, you might want to save your fixed base advertising. That's the only thing you can have a problem with here. Even a paper that dribbles its way. People that went to Western still get the free press in Peterborough. The fixed advertising is where you could get into a DSSA issue the quickest. So you might not do that on launch. Unless you want, you might do it in KW. You'd only want to do it in a heavily fortified Auto IQ market anyway.
Unless you take the position to Mike that Auto IQ is not who they're buying from. Auto IQ is just Auto Trader or Kijiji or CarGurus. It's a marketplace. The only gap there is, well, someone could say, well, I want to be on that marketplace then. We'd say, well, sorry, it's a bit of a boys and girls club that you're not invited to.
And for clarity, I'm up for that battle, and I'm even up for the possibility that we lose that battle and what the repercussions are. So I'm with you on that. I'm not.
There might be some neat press. There might be some neat press out of losing that battle too.
Yeah,
we're trying to make car buying easier, and the old stick in the mud. Not that we really want to do that, but so the alternative, if we don't want new on the site, is that people land on a new vehicle. We advertise Auto IQ. They get to our site. They land on the site, and they go to a used vehicle. They can buy it. They go to a new vehicle. It generates a lead.
I just had a visual of Steve Perry in court with us. I said anywhere you want, anywhere you want, anywhere you want it, and they said anywhere you want it.
I think all the OEMs would applaud this. It's just it's the old guard that'll get defensive if we start really making some waves. Right?
Well, it begs the question in the U.S., where they probably had their big legal team study it, why Carvana hasn't done it yet, but it is in the cards. So, I mean, they could easily...
Carvana's not a new car dealer, though, either. I think the bigger comparison would be Driveway, right? And he says they're going to do it.
But Carvana it's so easy. They could buy less than us. They could probably work out some side deal or something. But no, I hear what you're saying on Driveway. So we are, but that's not what we're representing when we're Auto IQ as a sort of a marketplace and an auto trader, right? So anyway, I think if we get a little publicity out of it and it goes a little sideways, we'll just alter or get injunctions or whatever. I'm up for it is all I'll leave you guys with. Do as much studying as you can, but I'm up for it.
Okay. So then to-dos, we've got to all come back with what our opinion is of which one to go with. We also want to, by end of day tomorrow, we also need to meet to do a deeper dive on the budget. Carrie thinks we should push the schedule out. I tend to agree, I think. My hesitation there is just about summer radio. I like the concept of people in the dock hearing it. But other than that, I agree 100% with pushing it out. Part of setting the target was just get everybody moving hard. If we were a month later than we originally planned, and by the way, every single day we delay launch, we have more inventory.
I think there's certain people we won't want to tell the new timeline to. Like, I'm not going to tell eDealer and have them stop what they're doing. I think Roadster we keep the push on. It's just more of, and it gives us more time on the merchandising too, which I haven't been able to send you guys yet, the details on Spin Car, but I want to send you those as well. So it gives us a bit more time on that.
And our in transit and our on order project, getting the Ford inventory, that's another, what was that, another 1,000 units if we can get those on the site. I know they're new, but
yeah,
it starts getting closer to our advertised numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So on the journey, I'd hit them. I'd negotiate that as hard as you can, and maybe just an opinion. After you're done that and you're at the final price, try to get a
five-song venue at the El Macombo or something when they're in Toronto. I know they still tour every year, so I don't know where they're scheduled for. If they're not coming to Toronto and you can't get that, at least get some backstage passes for San Francisco or one of their cooler venues where they really rock it for yourselves, at least. Just sometimes that can be kind of fun. And again, I got to think they're commercial. They do commercial stuff, but he must have thought the plan was okay, because I think they'd still make money, wouldn't they, Andrew? That they don't need that badly if they thought it was tacky.
I think they're getting lots of royalties, right? Like, but based on what Mike just said, whatever your final is, if it costs 15 grand more than that, just send me a bill. Like, sounds like a lot of fun.
Go.
Yeah, put them in your name. Is there a number we're comfortable with for 2 years? Like 300K? Does that feel like comfortable, or?
So they hit us at what, 260 for 4 months, right?
4 months, yeah.
So what do we think? There's probably a commission in there, which is usually negotiable, right? That person wants that deal, even if they get a little bit, probably. And there's probably, especially if they like the concept, there's probably, so I don't know, do you cut it in half, try and do 2 years, maybe add a touch? Like, do you take the 250, make it 125, back to 250 for 2 years and add, your 300 back to, you get to the same spot I did?
I don't think I'd start at 350. I think I'd say, like, can they give us 2 years at this number, and then know that we've got a bit of buffer room to go up a little bit. I don't know. I've never done this before. So, I mean, again, there's an agency that's doing this on behalf of Angry Butterfly. Like, I don't think it's even them directly. So I'm not sure how this thing works, but I don't know.
I like your plan there, Carrie. I mean, do we think that's offensive? Hey, guys, and maybe you give some context. We are like Mike said, we're a startup that's looking to revolutionize this space, right?
Yeah.
And you might be part of something. Try and get them convinced that they'll be part of something bigger than Journey.
You know what?
Sell the story hard, that it's a startup. It's going to be so cool. We're going to make it work. And, one of the founders was a fan that I could never look them in the eye and say they were my favorite band, but I just have so many time points in my life. I think I was single, but I was dating two Sherrys when Oh Sherry came out in the early 80s. And it was fun. Like, there's a lot there. So sell the heck out of it. And hopefully they want to do it so bad that we can make it so we can all stomach it. Because like Paul said earlier, every penny we spend on that comes out of reach and production, and how do we get to the public to get the names coming in. So, but I think it'll resonate. It's just so non-offensive, friendly, goes across so many people.
I think
there's nothing. Sorry, Carrie, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the shirts we send the team, like Auto IQ and then on the back or something, it's like any way you want it, autoiq.com or something. That'd be so fun.
There's a big value in this just with our team. They're like, holy shit, I'm part of a company doing this. They bought that song. Like, I think this is as much a brand launch internally, which has big value as it is externally. And just back to the negotiation, Carrie, there's nothing, hard-nosed negotiation can be offensive, but there's nothing offensive saying we're a startup. We have no revenue in the till yet, but we're looking to revolutionize the way people buy cars in Canada. And this is, we looked everywhere, we've scrounged, we've cut budget elsewhere, and this is what we can come up with. There's nothing offensive if someone says, this is what I can afford. Is there any way you can do it? It's just offensive when you start trying to hammer. So just maybe try and position it that way.
And just so we are prepared if they do this, doing some reading on it the last few days, some of these are revenue-based costs or trailers based on upside. Would we have any interest in that?
Well, I was going to say, if we sell 1,000 cars in a period, or, you could have some fun with that on the, if they have a business mind at all. But I'd say that that goes in before the backstage passes at Madison Square Gardens or wherever you get to the concert at, or whatever we have them do.
I don't know enough about that, Paul. I mean, it sounds like it'd be kind of messy, but I mean, again, willing to learn if that's something we want to try to package together for them.
Maybe maybe see if they bounce that back.
Yeah, so I was more thinking if they came back, like we should be prepared to think about it.
Yeah.
Going firm, like it's swaying which one we go to, 1, 2, or 3. Brent seemed to lean toward it. He was selling the fact that production would be a lot less on that piece. I just could hear that they were kind of liking it. So they're on side, we're on side. Sell it that it could make the decision if they do it. They've got to believe it's it or they won't. And if they come back, like Andrew says, with the trailer, great. If not, you guys could in camera and offer the trailer up after. I wouldn't throw it out there right away because it would be cleaner and easier not to have it in place.
Yep.
A residual on a residual.
Yeah. Andrew, I did have like a really great call with a PR agency this morning, and I was never really thinking about internal launch of this whole new project, but they got me really thinking about it, and I think it's just so cool. They were trying to help me understand, like, and really start to articulate what does AutoIQ Pride mean, and that just I don't know, I just thought it was really cool to get our and our people.
I have a picture of. I have an image of our logo over top of a pride flag right now, just so you know. But yeah, there's some cool stuff that can be done there for sure. And what we should also be, separate topic, but it goes hand in hand, is we should be really talking about what our shared services teams visits to our stores. I really think we need to do the intro welcome to appreciation, AutoIQ appreciation lunch, where all our senior team and shared services team are out at the stores. We should be planning that now, like July 6th, we can do that, right?
Hopefully.
We technically can do that now, but we can do it much more sort of liberally, I think, after that. So
I like that a lot. And again, if I die or something, please think about having this agency, having the Angry Butterfly people do a recruiting video. I just watching Aiden again this morning. I can see them doing a professional video with all of you and Carrie and Paul and Danny and everybody, or some, and an Aiden, people up and coming, and then a Christy and a Braden and some of our superstar partners, just doing a recruiting video that makes any up and coming sales manager or assistant service manager think, wow, that place is fun. Wow, they really come through for their people. And wow, that's where I need to work. And it might even blend in with Any Way You Want or with our whole theme that gets out there. So keep that in mind. I think that video, that we need the best talent, and every time we step up, it always is worth it. So.
Well, I'll plant the seed with them now about something like that. They can start thinking of what does that storyboard look like, and so we can make sure we get filming any of these things that are coming up. So we have some good content to do that with. I love
that.
It.
Would just if I was out in Flin Flon, and I saw Braden and some of the people and the support people like you, Carrie and Paul, and I just think I want to be in a group, but there's some of these soulless groups, and I have to be in a group if I'm ever going to be an owner, but will it ever really happen? They kind of have a few, but not many. And then you see Braden, a young person living the life and being there already, or Christy, some of our younger partners, that it's not like a lot of places. You don't get on the conveyor belt for 10 years and then maybe it happens. It really can happen if you're the right person willing to put in the effort. And I just think they could convey that message way better than we ever could on our own.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Should I book something for us like Friday, maybe, just to regroup? Hopefully we'll get something back on the song, and then we can talk about it. I'm on vacation next week, so not that I can't dial in. Internet might not be so great, but should I get that in our calendars, maybe? Just a quick, even half an hour?
Works for me. Oh, sorry, you said Friday?
Friday.
I'm going to have a tough time on Friday unless it's first thing.
Okay.
I'm off Friday as well, so.
Okay. I could even do we can even do Monday afternoon or something too.
Well, you're off Monday. That's not fair, Carrie. Like we can.
It's okay.
If you guys are okay with the morning, then that works.
Yeah, we might not have all the answers, but I mean, I think Paul and I at least will have an idea of most costs today, but we'll push to try to see if we can get a few more answers before Friday morning. So yeah, I'll book something in.
I can. Yeah. We've been invited to do wine tours otherwise, so you might get a sort of a more liberal answer at 4 o'clock on Friday, is all I'm saying. So
So we
That's a
should
good one.
then. Okay, Friday afternoon, done.
So Carrie, we all love Angry Butterfly, and again, I don't. You probably have, but I don't know how. I've been around a lot of advertising agencies, top names around the world for the last 30 years. Not my whole career, but for the last 30. And they're fresh, they're new, they're in sync with each other. You can see how they even like each other's ideas when they're talking. I think you can't oversell the fact that we could be the best thing that ever happened to them. They've probably done some great launches. You guys probably saw it during your presentations, but our launch let them know with Andrew, but with you guys, like, this is going to work, and this is going to be big for them because we're going to make this huge, and that's a big benefit for them. So all that is just to keep their pricing down, as I'm saying there, and keep them fighting for us with every production team that they're buddies with, and every time they talk to a Steve Perry, want them totally on side.
That sounds good. I mean, I think if we end up going down the path of some of this PR stuff, I mean, again, I don't know the costing of it, but there's definitely some mention of them in that part of it too, right? So, yeah. I mean, I don't imagine, just by how much attention they've been giving us, that they have a massive client roster right now. So they
need this.
They need this.
We can put them on the map forever. Your testimonials 2 years from now, they're going to go into their presentation. And so you guys talking about how it worked from the storyboards we had and all the different stuff and the decisions they helped us through, and that they were a significant team member at the table to launch this fantastic company, because it's going to be fantastic. I really appreciate everything you all are doing. Like, this just is really, really exciting to me.
Okay, cool, guys. Well, great job, Carrie and Paul. And maybe on Friday, or if we do Friday, we can just sort of touch base about where we are operationally too, how close we're getting, because I think we need to start moving quick on some of those pieces. I know if there's one thing we're nervous about, we're excited about a great brand promise now. We got to deliver on the promise. So.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks.